You are listening to CrossTalk, a safe place to discuss addiction, recovery, harm reduction, and everything in between. Support for this podcast comes from the Kentucky Opioid Response Effort and Advocates of Recovery. Content and production by the team at Turning Point Recovery Community Center. Now, buckle up and get ready for the show.
Welcome everyone to CrossTalk Recovery, the recovery podcast that supports all forms of recovery. I'm Matt Lewis, and I'm here with
Nathan Brockett, Lawson Niehoff,
Rocky Doom.
Hey guys, welcome. I know Rocky and Lawson from going through Centerpoint. Rocky was working there when I got there. I looked up to him. I really respected him. He showed me how to have fun in recovery. He was a shining example to me coming through that program. I really appreciate him being there. Lawson and I went through there together. I love these guys. Rocky is the national chapter director of YPR. And Lawson does something with YPR. But we wanted to have them on here to kind of talk a little bit about their story, their recovery, and to tell us a little bit more about YPR. I know we've had Lawson on before. He talked about it a little bit, but we wanted to have someone who really knew what they were talking about on here. Wow. So we have Rocky.
Wow.
Yes! I love the singers.
That's why I enjoy doing the ones with these podcasts with people I know, because I can have a little more fun with them and still talk about serious stuff. So, Rocky, tell us a little bit about how you got started in recovery, and your story, and maybe a little bit about YPR.
All right. Yeah, thank you for your comments there. I appreciate that. You guys are definitely what kept me going while I was working at Centerpoint, that's for sure. Gosh, I don't even know where to start. My story is so similar to many others that are out there. For years and years, drugs and alcohol just ruled my life and everything that I did, and somewhere along the way, that turned into a little bit of involvement with the justice system, who was nice enough to sit me down at Centerpoint for 6 months. I tried different short-term abstinence-based programs before, and it just didn't click because I didn't want it at those points in time. But I got to Centerpoint, and I don't know, there's just something about the amount of love that exists in that building that just completely shifted. Well, you guys know. You've all been there and know what I'm talking about. And that if you're serious and willing, that place can be a good vessel for you to completely change your life. I believe that wholeheartedly. And that's exactly what happened. I can remember when my probation officer told me that I had to go to Centerpoint for 6 months. I can remember I started crying in her office, and she said, "Oh, you never know, sweetie. Some people get there and like it so much they stick around." And I can remember, thinking she has lost her mind. There's no way I'm staying a day longer than 6 months. And then something happened, and that 6 months turned into living in the building for almost 2 years.
You almost had the record, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And then after that, I was fortunate to get offered a job at Centerpoint, working there, and I loved what I did. I loved everyone that I was involved with, but in a sense, I think I made that my recovery. All of the things that we all know that we should do, I stopped doing those things, and that quickly took me right back to where I'd been before. And it was really quite scary because that happened in such a short time. I'm talking 0 to ICU in a matter of days. And it really floored me. And when, after that happened, there were some folks there at Centerpoint who came to my house and got me out of bed and took me to the hospital, and then wanted to see me get help, I think. Unfortunately, with that situation, I lost my job there at Centerpoint, but a couple of years prior to that, I'd been offered an opportunity to start a chapter of young people in recovery here in Paducah. Yep. Had no idea what I was getting into, no idea what the organization was or what they were all about. And when I had that recurrence of use last summer, YPR reached out and said, "We care about you. We want to support you. How can we get you through this?"
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was a completely different reaction from anything I'd ever experienced with any employer before, in terms of my substance use disorder. And so I went back to treatment to the Fuller Center over in Mayfield for 28 days, and that place was incredible. I was really reluctant to go. I'd been doing everything I should have been doing for almost 3 years, and there was a lot of guilt and shame and embarrassment that came with that. But I can't say enough positive things about Matt Lacefield and Daniel Sams there at Fuller, and Ricky Martin and all the other folks that work there. I mean, they were instrumental in helping me during that month or so just to sit down and focus and get back on track. So that's what I did. And then after that, there was a position that came open with YPR as the national chapter director. And I absolutely love it. I'm so fortunate today that I get to work with not just our chapter here in Paducah, but chapters all across the country and see the amazing things that our chapter leads are doing and the difference that they're making in their communities. And YPR is one of those organizations that is so very open-minded. They introduced me to aspects of recovery that I'd never considered before.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I was willing to open my mind to that and see, like you said, as you were introducing there, for all pathways of recovery, I was very much set in stone on 12 steps are the only thing that work, and it's the only thing that can work. And for me, that is the case. But I know for others, we really have a responsibility, I feel like, to meet people where they are.
Oh, yeah.
And YPR has just been amazing in helping that happen. And I love getting to sit down and talk with people and work with people that have so much potential and just haven't yet realized that they have potential. I think of examples with each of the three of you too, from seeing that happen.
Stop
it. No, seriously, just getting to see those light bulbs come on and to see that shift start to happen over a period of time. It's one of the most beautiful experiences I've gotten to be a part of, is to watch changes like that in people. And today, that's what keeps me going, to get to continue to do that and see people reach their potential. Some, it takes a little longer than others.
It's okay, Bubby. We love you, man.
But yeah, that's sort of the abbreviated version of what happened and how I got to YPR and what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Small setback for a big comeback, huh?
I guess so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Definitely.
Yeah, I can dig it. Talk about the potential thing. You always used to say that. I remember in your lead you would give. It says you look out, all the people that were watching, and all you see is potential. Yeah. Other people see us is that bottom of the barrel type, and you see us in that different light. And that was always a big motivator, because that kind of changed my mind as to the outlook of how people view us. There's people that really care about people that are trying to do something different, and you're one of them. And as monumental as you are for all three of us, I can only imagine the hundreds and hundreds of other people you've touched just by just being there and caring about these people. Some people didn't have that, like me. I didn't have that. And then to come to a place, Center Point, that is just surrounded by people that really do care, just kind of switched it all up, made it a little easier. You know what I mean? So I can get into that.
Yeah, I know you were heavily involved with Rocky and YPR when I was coming through there. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Like Rocky, one of the favorite things you did that I took from the program was when you did the morning meditation, when you read On Awakening, really slow and paused, and everyone was supposed to close their eyes and kind of breathe and take it in. And that was the first time I actually heard that reading, because everybody just reads it so fast, and then they're saying the same grateful things they always were saying, but that took it in, and I started doing that on my own, and that really changed the way I looked at not only meditation, but looked at those readings and started actually absorbing that stuff. So I always enjoyed that. And then once we started going to YPR, or at where Turning Point used to be, and we just were having fun. It's not every meeting was a serious meeting. Sometimes we'd play games, and it was just, you felt comfortable. It was a safe space. It's that extra avenue of support that I think is so important, that, that's what we say, we would support all forms of recovery. And it's all those people could come together. Something I really push for here is unity between these different programs, man. It's just people who are trying to change their lives for the better, and they should be supported in any way that they can. I don't feel like there should be these people telling, no, you're not doing it right, or we don't want to have you here, or all this division doesn't do anybody any good. No. So anyway, Lawson, what got you into YPR, man? I know, we went through it together, but
let's hear your side of it.
For me, much like Rocky, I ended up at Center Point by mistake through Department of Corrections.
I don't think that was a mistake.
It was a mistake for me. I'll put it that way.
Whoops.
It was definitely a mistake for me.
You slipped and fell into Center Point.
Yeah, I got there and I was like, fuck, what am I doing here? But no,
we got our cuss word.
but no, I had been at Centerpoint for a little bit, and man, it just I was not very interested in the whole AA thing at all. It was kind of like you were sharing before. It was almost like they were telling me what to do, how to do it, when to do it, all that. Much like all of Centerpoint is, because it's trying to teach you how to change your life.
Yeah.
But with YPR being as free-flowing as it is, that was the biggest part for me. You come as you are, you leave as you are, hopefully a little bit better, and we're open to anybody.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what your background is, what type of recovery you want. Like, we accept people from any form of recovery, period.
Yep.
Whereas, like, with AA, there's closed meetings where if you're not an alcoholic, they don't want you there. And to me, I don't think that anybody who's wanting a better way of life should be denied for any reason.
Absolutely.
If you're doing anything to make yourself better, I think that you should have those avenues of support, like you were saying. But no, I was just at Centerpoint, kind of burned out on the whole AA thing because you go to a lot of meetings there, constant classes, constant meetings. And then I went to my first YPR meeting my first week there. And I was still in SOS, and I remember like just how open it was, and just YPR helped me to realize you can have fun in recovery. It doesn't have to be dead serious all the time, kind of like you were saying with these podcasts. Whenever you have people you know on here, you have a lot more fun with it versus the business, the serious side of it. And that's what I need in recovery, because if I'm not having a blast, then I'm not very interested.
I get it.
So
Definitely
that's what got me to YPR.
We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, did you know it's illegal to own just one guinea pig in Switzerland because they get lonely? Here at Turning Point, we don't want you to ever be lonely either. That's why we're open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Always feel free to come hang with our friendly staff, and don't forget your guinea pig. We're located at 415 Broadway Street, downtown Paducah.
Did you know that recovery from substance use disorder and mental health go hand in hand? That is why the caring and compassionate mental health professionals at Four Rivers Behavioral Health in Paducah are here to help you find your balance. They are proud of you for making the changes necessary to live a healthier life and would love to see you reach your full potential. Give them a call at 270-442-7121 or stop by the downtown location at 425 Broadway in Paducah, Kentucky.
PR used to be the meetings that everybody needed to go to when we was at Centerpoint. And, you know, I know y'all can attest to this. You can, too. When we were going through, you weren't leaving the building unless you wanted to go to the Midtown Big Book study with Little John and them. Or you wanted to go to YPR with Rocky. And so I remember just running around and repping to everybody, hey, y'all need to come out to this meeting. It'll get you away from the building. And that was the selling ticket right there. But, you know, a couple years ago, and I know y'all have heard this 1,000 times, but just for the sake of the podcast, why YPR affects me so much to this day was that was my first outside meeting. And I know you remember this. We were at the old Turning Point on Kentucky Avenue, and we had that little meditation thing we did. And so we sat with the guided meditation playing on the phone for about, 10, 15 minutes, I believe. Yeah. And, you know, we just thought about things. And then you would ask the question, you know, where do you see yourself in, what was it, 5 years, I believe? Mm-hmm. And my turn came around to share what I saw. And I specifically remember saying that, you know, in the next 5 years, I want to be working in recovery. And I have a kid. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I'll be damned if that is not exactly where I'm at today. Yep. You know what I mean? So I'll never forget that. I remember all those, just like, it was almost like a time for decompression. Like Lawson's talking about, it's constant, you know, all day, just same thing over and over, same personalities that you have to deal with. Mm-hmm. But when you get to YPR, it's just, all that goes away. And it wasn't as much of a whining session about Centerpoint. It was, we got to talk, we had a different venue and a different thing, a different discussion than we did through the doors of 530 County Park Road. And that was, I don't know, it was such a, it's easy to say that you know, we support all pathways to recovery, But when we go into places like that and there's people that actually come and support, like family members, I remember seeing that. You didn't have that at Centerpoint. Yeah. They had family members there repping for the people that were there trying to get help. I didn't think people could do that because in my mind it was just like you had to be a drug addict or an alcoholic to even come to these meetings. But then you got people over here patting you on the back saying, hey, I'm just here to support you. It's cool seeing the community involvement and all that kind of thing too. But I think people know who YPR is. It's not just like, hey, you got your Brown Streets, all these other meetings we go to, but YPR is a national thing. I think that's so cool that it's just, when we was doing the chapter lead stuff back at Centerpoint, all the different ways they get involved, like harm reduction, housing and all that stuff. It's crazy. It's cool to see people just doing things for recovery and not just abstinent based or you got to be on this. It's just all forms. And I think that's the way people get better, genuinely get better, is knowing they're supported in any fashion, as long as they want to live a better way of life, So I love YPR. It's good stuff. I like how people want to be involved. People want to be involved with YPR.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so that's a good part for me, man. I like that.
Yeah. And that's one of those examples of like that potential that we talk about. Like I remember when you first got there, like going into recovery and having a baby, those were nowhere on your radar whatsoever. And then that shifted somewhere along the way, and those folks you were talking about that family members and that kind of thing, we call them recovery allies.
Yes.
That's kind of the N word now, I guess, but we've used that term for quite a while, and a lot of our folks that like organize and lead chapters across the country may not even be in recovery. It's just impacted their life in some way. So we have chapter leads and program managers and things like that are recovery allies. And what's so important about people like that is that they help us to eliminate some of that stigma that's out there, because we've all dealt with that. You've
of course
been judged in some way, shape, or form as a direct result of what you were doing during that time, and having people in our corner and on our side that are not like us, but realize that potential and are willing to set other people straight sometimes. It's definitely important to change that whole mindset.
Yeah.
And, for a small town like Paducah, and I say small town in comparison to some other places, like that idea or that concept that there might be something out there that will help someone to continue to live that is not AA or NA has not really been embraced that much. And I think we'll get there.
Oh yeah.
We're seeing just a whole, all pathways, just seeing something completely different, a new type of thing that's being set up that is like a safe space for using. And I couldn't imagine trying to roll one of those out here in Paducah. I mean, the backlash that we'd have from that and the uproar the community would be in. But I think that eventually, like, we're going to keep burying our friends and our family members if we don't start embracing other ideas like that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, that's why we work with harm reduction around here so much that I know there's stigma attached to that, but it's so important to do that. And that reminds me of one of the videos we used to watch in YPR that you showed many times. The stigma video is a powerful video, man, that just a lot of people can relate to because we've all felt that on some level. Yeah. So I know that YPR is started in Colorado, right?
Yes.
Where are the chapters? Are they everywhere? Is there like certain spots that they're only like for people who might want to get involved?
Yeah. Do you want to answer that one or?
I'll go for the research, Bubby.
I don't know exactly where all it's at.
It's all right. We're testing the waters here to see where Lawson's at. We'll get you back in training. No, we have chapters all across the country in 19 different states right now. We're at 74 chapters. Some of our chapters are chapters similar to the Paducah chapter where the engagement is really just in, I shouldn't say just in because they're so very important. All recovery meetings and pro-social events, those activities where we get together and just have fun. Workshops, you talked about some of those. Like we have workshops that we offer for to just look at the impact that education or lack of education can make in someone's life, or employment, harm reduction. We do a whole workshop on reducing stigma and trying to change some of our language so we get away from some of those terms out there that equate to so many negative thoughts. So we have chapters that do that, and then locally we'll be involved in some type of advocacy event. So looking at something within that community that they'd like to see changed. And some of those are on a very small scale, and some of our chapters are doing incredibly huge things with that. It really just depends on the area.
Right.
Obviously, what we need here in Paducah is going to differ than our chapter in Los Angeles.
Of course.
So, but then the other chapters that we have are chapters that offer YPR programming. And so we have 3 different types of programs that we offer for folks out there that are all life skills curriculum for individuals that are in recovery from a substance use disorder. Okay. The first one of those is called EPIC. And so our EPIC training is for, that happens a lot in treatment centers and different places like that. Then we have a Phoenix program that is life skills training for folks that are justice involved, so probation, parole, drug courts, those types of things. I will take a moment, I've just got to get this plug in there to say our Phoenix programming is so much better. Like, we all know the life skills training that
we have to teach it.
There was this, you know, like, what, did it take like 20 minutes? Okay, you're a certified instructor. And ours is a little more in depth than that, but our Phoenix program it's constantly up to date. You know, we have numbers out there that show the success rate of, we'll look at somebody on their level of employment or education when they first started Phoenix versus what it's like at 3 months and 6 months and a year. And there's just constant increases across that. So we've really got some room in Kentucky to grow. That portal new direction training that the Department of Corrections has issued is, it could use some work.
There you go.
Anyway, so with that Phoenix training, for a lot of folks, that's satisfying their requirement of whatever it might be if they're justice involved. And then the last one we have is brand new for us, and it's called My Future is Epic. And this is for adolescents age 14 to 18 that either are misusing substances already or are at risk of developing a substance use disorder. And in that program there, we have sort of some additional tracks that we can take with that. So if an individual is already misusing substances, we throw a couple of more modules into that than we would for individuals that maybe aren't at that point yet. So, so I said all that to say our other chapters that aren't just activities have programs. Okay. And then in combination with those programs, they'll offer the exact same things that we do here in Paducah, all recovery meetings and pro-social events and workshops and that type of thing. So it really just, it varies depending on the programming, and most of that is grant funded, so it depends on what types of grants are received.
Okay,
that's exciting.
Did I miss anything?
Not that I know of. The biggest thing, I didn't want to exaggerate how many chapters we do have, because it seems like a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And that was where I would have slipped up.
So y'all could just tackle recovery on all fronts, it sounds like.
That's what we're trying to do.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a smart thing to do.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think about, like, around here, places like, you know, like Benton and Murray and Mayfield, where we don't have YPR chapters, that it would be amazing to get something like that going where we could see that, because I know the need is there, particularly in Murray. I can't imagine that there's not some type of collegiate recovery-based program for a school city like that.
That was going to be my next question. Was, do you know if they have any involvement in the school system at all, or that
it varies depending on the location. One of our chapter leads in California, I can't remember the exact location, and I should know this, but she has started just incorporating pro-social activities and all recovery meetings with younger students that are in high school or even junior high, maybe. So we're starting to see more of that. And then we try to partner with like different campuses and things like that. One example of that is that, you know, young people in recovery is always thinking outside the box.
Of course.
Like, just because it hasn't been done that way is no reason not to try it or to do it differently and make it work. So in Colorado, for example, we have a project underway right now where we're trying to do some training and development for pharmacy students, and even for like Walgreens and CVS and other national chain pharmacies. And our hope here is to ultimately get this even into doctors' offices, where we talk about the importance of having something like Narcan available when you're prescribing opiates to someone. Yeah. Just because those overdoses can happen. You know, it doesn't have to be someone that's addicted to those substances for that to happen. Those accidental overdoses can happen all the time. I was just reading something this morning that overdose is now the number one cause of accidental death in the United States.
We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. You want to know something? My biggest issue with meetings is despite their name, they're never about me. Here at Turning Point, all of our meetings are for you and about you. We have meetings at least 3 times a day, 7 days a week. We are located at 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky. Call 270-444-3621 for more information.
As a woman in recovery, I know how important having a fellowship of women has been for me. Come join us at the Women of Worth All Recovery Support Group here at Turning Point, 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky, every Friday night at 6 p.m., where we discuss our personal experiences in recovery. Hope to see you there.
Wow.
It's the number one. So, we have those things out there like Narcan that we can, and I know you all do a lot of distribution of that, and that kind of thing. So, I mean, it's one of those things. I'm not going to say that YPR would get to this point or would advocate for this, but I think about like how incredible would it be where that was a requirement that a physician had to have that conversation with a doctor or with a patient before they prescribed a substance like that they could get that they could misuse.
Absolutely.
I've given Narcan to people before, like doing door-to-door outreach, and we've had people that don't even know what it is. They think it's a drug in its own right. And we're like, no. We have to explain it to them. They're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that they even existed. So that would be pretty cool. At least make people a little bit more competent about as to how they could, like you said, it's accidental death. This might be something that could definitely be prevented, So, of course.
And I think all of us, we all, chances are, know someone closely that has been revived.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or experienced it ourselves.
Right.
I know we got our overdose awareness event coming up next month. It was a great event last year and a powerful thing. So I hope some people come out for that. But it sounds like you guys are doing a lot of really cool stuff, man.
Thank you. One other plug, if I can get this in there.
Please do.
Plug away.
I'm just trying to share as many things as I can about what we have going on. But there is a film out there for anybody listening who might be familiar with The Anonymous People, which is a great film if you've not had a chance to watch that. But the filmmaker of that, Greg Williams, has partnered with YPR and given us exclusive rights to a new film that he's done called Tipping the Pain Scale, that looks at sort of, like, how when you go to the doctor or an emergency room, there's that chart on the wall with the little faces and you rate your pain. I didn't realize that came as a result of a major push and lobbying by pharmaceutical companies to have that in hospitals so that patients would rate themselves. And then, you can have a chart if they're rating themselves, I don't know the numbers, but a 6 or 7 or 8, then that's a reason to prescribe an opiate to that person. Mm-hmm. So pharmaceutical companies had a big part in that happening. So this Tipping the Pain Scale looks at the role that has played and the impact that it's made in different communities. And it follows kind of the stories of a street outreach worker in Philadelphia who all day long, all she does is she goes around with a backpack full of clean syringes and snacks for people and Narcan. And she's just walking the streets of Philadelphia looking for folks that are laying on the street or in these various areas that might have, and she'll administer Narcan right there.
Wow.
Or give them clean needles and she'll ask, are you going to use today? And if they say that they are, she'll take whatever they have from them so that dirty needles aren't still out there and give up. And then she's, picking up things. So it follows her. It follows a police officer in Boston who completely shifted the perception of what the police department is. So this officer drives around to communities where he knows that people are using all day, never arrests anyone, and is just putting them in touch with resources that are there in Boston that they can have access to. Wow. And his story is really cool. I don't want to spoil too much of the film, but he couldn't build trust with these people. And he knew that he had a skill that they all could benefit from, so he set up a little portable barber shop right there. Getting a haircut, it's a good time to start a conversation. So these people respect this police officer when there's complete distrust there before. And it follows, I'm drawing a blank. I think his name is Marty Walsh. He's the labor secretary now, I believe. That may not be right, but he's got some national cabinet position. And he's open that he's an alcoholic, and it follows his journey and how his recovery was so instrumental into getting elected because of the support system that he had built.
Right.
So it looks at all these, and there are a couple of others that it follows, but it looks at how much of an impact that's made on everyday Americans from seeing what happens in these different communities, and then it goes into the different things that we can do to change some of that stuff. So all of our chapters are going to be screening that film, hopefully during the month of September. That's our goal.
Okay.
Cool.
So I know Lawson's still exploring some options there on where and what that might look like here in Paducah. But it's a great film. I was in Atlanta a few weeks ago, and I had some time, a layover in the airport, so I decided if I'm going to watch this, I hadn't watched it yet, I'm going to watch it here. Yeah. You all know I'm a crier. I was going to ask. So I'm sitting in the airport, like boo-hooing, and all these people are looking at me like, what is wrong with this old man sitting over there by himself watching his little laptop? And but it is, I can honestly say it's one of the most inspiring and impactful films I've ever seen. It really is amazing. So
where can you watch it if you can't make one of these screenings?
I don't know what platforms it's been released to yet. The name of it is Tipping the Pain Scale.
Okay.
So I would imagine that eventually it'll be on Prime Video and some of those other outlets that are out there right now. The director or the producer, filmmaker, sent us some preview codes. That's how we were able to get to it a little bit before. But it's really incredible, and it's one of those things that can be so educational for a place like Paducah. And I'm hoping that we'll get a really good turnout for that. We're still exploring the venue and where it might be held. I was really hopeful. Like, I had this idea that it would be great for your event on August 31st if we could do like a movie in the park that night even. Yeah. And maybe it's not too late for that. I don't know. That could be a possibility.
That's a good idea.
But it's a really great film. I'm hoping people will
I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Watch it.
And that's one thing I've loved finding out since getting sober was that there are people that are out there that actually care, even that maybe never been through this, like are not in recovery, but they just care about people in general, and they're out there trying to help. I didn't feel like anybody cared when I was in my addiction, but coming through and realizing that there's people out there, there's police officers who actually care and want to help you. They're not all bad. They're not all out to get you. It's an amazing feeling, And now that I can be one of those people to try and help other people. Lawson, why don't you tell us about some of the events coming up soon at YPR and where people can attend meetings?
Okay. So weekly we do all recovery meeting on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Like I said, all recovery. So whatever recovery looks like for you, you can come show up.
Where is that?
Where is that, Lawson?
Here at Turning Point.
That's 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky.
Then Tuesday night, we do weekly trivia night for a chance to win an Amazon gift card. And that's a hell of a lot of fun if you enjoy trivia or if you just enjoy fellowship.
We always have fun doing that.
And then every once in a while, we'll do different pro-social events. Coming up, we have a Venture River trip on the 30th of this month. And you can bring your money down here. You can bring your money with you whenever you come. But we'll be at Venture River 10 a.m. till whenever you want to leave. I'll be there till it's closed. All right. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to incorporate an all-recovery meeting up there also around like a lunchtime break or something. Oh, yeah. So
good idea.
Hopefully we'll have a really good turnout for that. There's a lot of people say they're going, but there's not a lot of people bringing money. So
how much money do you need to be able to do this?
It doesn't matter. I mean,
it's $20.
$20.
$20.
But we'll take 50 or 100.
Yeah, whatever you want to bring. I know you guys do car washes.
Oh,
we need to promote that more because I don't want to be the only one there washing cars again.
Oh no,
we always end up doing a car wash right
help.
behind y'all, so it's like, YPR made all
there's a strong car wash competition going on in this Oxford House and Turning Point. And you guys. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming on here, man, to talk about this stuff, share a little bit of your stories, try to promote YPR a little bit, especially today since today's your birthday, Rocky. Happy birthday,
Rocky.
We won't sing to you on here, but we'll get you afterwards.
Come on, Matt, you got the voice for
it. Break out the guitar, buddy.
But stay tuned after the podcast for my new music video. and go to YouTube and search Mahamba123 and subscribe to This Little Light channel for all my other music videos. Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I'm happy to have you on here. And
thank y'all.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Good to hang out with y'all and just
It
talk.
sure is.
You know what I mean? It's been a while since we've been able to do that.
Well, thank you
has
for
been
the
a while.
opportunity. And the last thing, we'll just say that for information about our events and activities, there is a YPR Paducah Facebook group.
Yeah.
That's it's an open group to join. Just search YPR Paducah on Facebook. Or our national website is youngpeopleinrecovery.org. And it just got a complete revamp with new
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
exciting colors.
That's
and,
pretty cool.
But all of our events across the country for that Tipping the Pain scale will be posted on the website
Awesome.
once that project's underway.
Great.
But thank you so much. I
Yeah, thank you
appreciate
guys.
Thank you guys.
being here.
Thank y'all.
All right, just remember that we're on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Also, all the audio versions on Google, Apple, Podbean, Spotify. So stay grateful.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or in recovery and needs guidance, speak with Turning Point's team of peer support specialists by calling 270-444-3621. You are not alone, and we are proof that recovery is possible.
I used to be full of fear. I used to be full of doubt. I used to not wanna hear the words that came out your mouth. I was afraid to be judged. I thought my life was a wash. That's when I started to trudge, have faith and not be a lush. And now I'm free, living courageously. Yes, now I'm free to live courageously. I used to worry a lot, drink booze and do lots of drugs. I wasn't giving a thought to you or other mugs. I was as selfish as they come, prisoner with no sense of love. That's when I hit rock bottom and asked for help from above. But now I'm free, living courageously. And now I'm free to live courageously. But now I'm free, living courageously. And now I'm free to live courageously. I used to steal all the time. I used to lie just for fun. I was so disconnected. I was so spiritually dead. I knew I could not do it alone. I thought that I was on my own. That's when I gave up my plans and put my life in his hands. And now I'm free, living courageously. Yes, now I'm free to live courageously. And now I'm free, living courageously. And now I'm free to live courageously. Yes, now I'm free, living courageously. Yes, now I'm